Our next presentation will be from Louis Kim. Louis is a former vice president at Hewlett Packard, or HP, where he led teams developing AI-enabled wearable hardware for healthcare and other industries, teams integrating large language models, retrieval augmented generation, and agentic platforms. His presentation this afternoon is titled The Irreducible Encounter, Reflections from 20 Physicians, Theologians, and Executives on the Last Roles of Humans in the World of AI. Please join me in welcome Louis Kim.
Good afternoon. Scott mentioned I was a former executive at HP. I actually resigned 2 months ago. Can you guys hear me? Resigned 2 months ago to continue my studies. I'm getting a master's in divinity. My intent is to focus in hospice and palliative care. What I want to share with you today is a month ago, I was actually here at the Greg in a workshop with 20 individuals from the healthcare industry. We had doctors. It was a really diverse group. We had doctors, we had executives from 2 large health insurance companies, theologians, nonprofit ethics leaders. So it was really diverse. And we spent 2 days, 4 hours each day, so 6 to 8 hours, wrestling with AI and healthcare in general. And we converged on a very key question, which is, as AI gets more powerful, gets more capable, it can read an X-ray much more accurately than a doctor, for example, what is the last role of a human in healthcare? 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and beyond. So first thing that we did was, when we talk about AI, it's important to be clear what kind of AI and for what. It's really easy to worry about the apocalyptic visions of fake humans and false relationships, but AI covers, as you know, a wide spectrum in any industry. So in healthcare, it's in the back office, it performs administrative tasks, it accelerates research. The areas in green are the ones that we naturally converge on in a Catholic kind of context, which is human to human or human to human relationships. But it's important to locate your debate and your discussion within this taxonomy, whatever industry you have. So in the workshop, one of the things we did was we sort of modeled a typical patient-doctor medical encounter and asked, where would you want a human in that chain of events? So this is just one model, but it kind of pushed us to think about the criteria, which we'll get to in the next slide. But this is just a typical, let's say, kind of medical visit. You get registered, prepped, meet with a doctor, get an evaluation, and you leave. And in this discussion, and this is not to say this is the one right answer, people felt like, you know, we can have AI help a doctor, but really need a human when it gets to more serious matters. And we'll talk about what those serious matters are. So from this exercise, and we did several of these, we gleaned a couple of principles of what is good AI in healthcare. So one is it should augment or help or assist a human or healthcare caregiver in their role as a clinician. Humans should decide, by the way, I'm sharing the output from the workshop. This is not meant to be the final words. This is all kind of arguable. Second is humans decide where is AI used. Humans set the expectations for a benefit and anticipates the risks. Humans define the governance and regulatory framework. And then we had a gentleman named Daniel Daly. He runs the Ethics Center in the US for the Catholic Health Association. That is the trade association for all 2,000 US Catholic hospitals and clinics. So significant role. And he emphatically kept repeating, we can't forget, what makes Catholic healthcare Catholic is that we are caring for people, replicating the healing ministry of Jesus. So we went a little bit further. Okay, what are the criteria for 5, 10, 15 years from now when AI is so powerful where you need a human? And it's a long list, but it sort of came down to again, this is all arguable, situations that are non-algorithmic. It's not a formula, it's not a spreadsheet, an easy model. Roles where you need a pastoral element. Obviously, relationality is really important. Accompaniment was a big word, particularly in situations like chaplaincy. Divine mediation, sacramental, and then roles where really humans should be in a role that has the final authority on consent and verification. And lastly, there was this term that we came up with, which is non-impersonation. A patient may relate to an AI, a robot, chatbot, like a human, and feels like that's a human discussion, but there should be no confusion. That's not a human. So one principle we said was, if we're gonna have that kind of engagement, it's gotta be clear it's not a person. Okay, so we tried to distill this into a statement that might be durable 5, 10, 20, 30 years from now, that sort of replicates some of the lessons we've seen in Catholic social teaching, where terms have been coined like preferential option for the poor, solidarity, subsidiarity, that we're sort of used to, that has guided our culture. So this is just a draft, it's not official, but the Vatican is free to steal it. So our phrase is the irreducible encounter principle. So you can read the text, but a lot of the elements that I talked about before are encapsulated in this statement. It captures the idea of human relationships have to be embodied. There's a sacred aspect to it. Humans have to be in a position of authority. And then the non-impersonation principle. So this is clear. But as I wrap up, as the workshop went on, we got to specific examples, and then that's not so clear. So this is where trade-offs kind of come into play. So in healthcare, there's 3 or 4 things you're trying to trade off: access to healthcare, affordability of healthcare, reliability of healthcare. So imagine a scenario where 5, 10 years from now, you can have a hospital run completely by robots, no humans at all. It's very cheap, very reliable. And you can deploy 100 of these in a developing country. But if some ethicist says, no, you gotta have a human, you gotta have a few humans, okay, that just elevates your costs, and now you can only have 10 of those hospitals in that underserved region. What would you do? Complicated. Another scenario we had was a hospice elder care facility that's understaffed, and you have a shortage of chaplains. Would you allow a robot chaplain? So, not easy. So, let me show you a video, but before I do, let me ask a question from the audience. So, this elder care scenario, nursing home, hospice facility, imagine you have a lot of patients, it's underserved, there's one nurse, chaplain hasn't visited in weeks. But there's a technology, which is a robot that sits on your table and can interact with that patient, talks to that patient, feels like a person, and develops a relationship. Raise your hand if you are uncomfortable with that idea. One thing I wanted to close with, one of our big takeaways is we can all agree on the principle. And AI, we have a lot of debates, but as people in the audience, if you're a theologian, a clinician, we have to marry the principle with the context. And you may not have an answer that everyone can agree with, but it'll be a little bit more relevant. So, thank you.